Welcome to Sunday Vibes, where we get to know local artists and uncover our community's music scene. We're joined here today by the All-Niters. The All-Niters are a high-energy cover band that plays all the hits you love to sing and dance to all night long. I ripped that from your Facebook.
I don't think we wrote that.
Who wrote that?
I wrote it.
Oh, you wrote it. Okay.
Well done.
Was it weird hearing me say your words?
Not really.
At first, I was wondering where he was getting it from, and I'm like, "Oh, that's cool."
Pretty cool.
It's like he came up with
That's
that
good.
all
Who
on his
did
own.
So I want
guess
to
I'm doing
introduce.
something right.
I want to introduce the three of you. Unfortunately, the fourth member couldn't be here today, but we got. Go ahead, Ben.
Ben Loshbow, play guitar in the All-Niters.
Isaiah Rowe, I play bass.
I'm Brian O'Connell. I'm the vocalist.
And the Facebook
Facebook man.
man,
Copywriter. Yeah.
the copywriter.
And then Steven Hauser's the drummer. He couldn't make it today, but
Yeah. So we have John here in his stead.
Thanks,
Do what I
John.
can.
My partner in the whole vibe unit kingdom.
Yeah, we're
The
here. We're doing
Empire.
it.
Heck
We
yeah,
got y'all
man.
in here. First time, so it's fun. Good
All
to have
right.
you here.
So I guess the first question I have for all of you, without knowing much, I know you two have known each other for a long time. How did you connect with Brian?
That's all you, Ben.
So him and I can start. It depends on how far back you want me to go. So
Go for it.
Right.
So he's about 10 years older than I am, and I tell him this all the time, and he doesn't ever believe me. But growing up, he was in like the one band that I knew of as a kid in Waterville, and I thought his band was super cool. So I knew him way before he knew me, probably, because I thought he was really cool back in the day when his band, Joseph and the Mighty Happy Crew was the name of their band.
That's right.
And so growing up, I taught myself how to play, yada, yada, yada. Never really talked to Isaiah that much, but I joined an old band that we had called Big Ben and the Burley Boys, where it was Isaiah, his brother, and another guy named Ben Farrick. That was that band. We weren't playing as many gigs as I wanted to, so I went on Facebook Marketplace, and Brian had an ad, like old school, almost newspaper ad. They were looking for a guitar player. So I just like messaged him. I'm like, hey, the band I'm in right now, we're not doing a whole lot of gigs. So I went and played with them, and that band was called Gearhead. And that was before, it was the worst band name ever.
Terrible.
We were called Gearhead, but we were playing Bruno Mars. So like you can put the pieces together. Yeah, and that was pre-COVID. And then post-COVID, the Burley Boys broke up, and our bass player and Gearhead left. So I recruited Mr. Rowe over here, and we needed a new band name, and we settled with the All-Niters. And it's going on 2 years, I feel like, since we started practicing.
Something like that.
Something 2 years. So yeah, that's the connection, really. And Steven was also the drummer the whole time in that whole loop of bands. So pretty interesting. But yeah, it's like old school newspaper. Post the ad for the guitar player. And
That's that's definitely old
truthfully
school.
the story.
It
Yeah.
was pretty cool.
Yep. So it's like a new gearhead with a new bass player.
Yeah.
With shitty opinions.
But yeah, so yeah, Brian and Steven and I have been playing together for probably 6 or 7 years, I think. And then him and I have been playing together for about 6 or 7 years too, but just across different boards. So
And how long have you been playing? And what was your instrument that you play?
I'm the vocalist.
You're the
I sing.
vocal. Oh, you're the
Yep.
singer.
Yep.
And I know you do a lot of covers in the All-Niters. Do you ever write any of your own music?
Oh yeah, I really started out, probably about 13 years ago. I started out actually being in bands, and I started my own band called Never Too Late. And it started out as a cover band, but it evolved into an original band. And the pinnacle of that was we opened up for Jackal to a sold-out crowd.
Whoa.
And it was an amazing show. And we got our set cut short a little bit, but we didn't care. Like, we're opening for Jackal. This is amazing.
Yeah.
So, and then, from there, things went with that band.
So where are you from originally?
Originally, I grew up in, like, Kalamazoo area.
Okay.
I graduated from Vicksburg. I was born in Boston, but, I moved here.
When you lived in Kalamazoo, I would imagine you'd be around a lot of music scene there.
Yeah, and you think I would have done something earlier, but I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
for some
13 years
reason.
only.
You
Wow.
know, and
Yeah.
I grew up with my best friend played guitar, and we had always talked about doing something, but it never happened. I was like chasing women too much, or
Yeah.
just doing other things, and just didn't really ever actually try to do anything until probably about 13 years ago, and things went pretty well for that, and then I got with these guys, and the cover band was awesome, and people loved seeing us play, and it was fun, and and it was like a whole new deal, and when we were in Gearhead, we had like 3 guitarists at one point, and it was
Yeah.
like we're playing the Czars show, and it was just crowded on that stage with musicians. It was an awesome feeling, you know.
Speaking of czars, they just recently started doing a whole new thing there. Nardo's Pizza. Have you guys been down there?
Oh,
yet?
it's the best.
You've had
Oh, I
it?
love
The
it.
pizza's great with the honey in it.
Oh, it's so good.
It's insane. We're not sponsored by them right now, but Nardo, if
That's
you're
your-
listening,
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, when we come through and talk to you about it, you remember this moment.
we'll timestamp it for you.
I'm a Detroit pizza guy. Like that's my favorite style. So to have like a Detroit like pan style in St. Joe's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What's your setup if you're just gonna go like grab a pizza? Like what's the setup?
The one at Nardo's I do is called, I think it's just called the Detroiter, and it's the regular pepperoni, then the cheese, then the Old World pepperoni on
So
top.
that's a Detroit style pizza.
Yes.
That's what that is. Okay.
And they got the Old World pepperoni is
Gotcha.
the one that's like the pool, like it curls up. And
Yeah.
they got the little grease bubbles in it.
Yeah,
You gotta
That's
have
the good one.
grease.
Yeah. If there's no pool of grease in the pepperonis, what are you doing?
I'm
It
trying to
ain't
get you
worth
guys
it.
sponsored right now, man. If we had Nardo's right here, that'd be
That would be-
awesome.
we-
I mean, there's room for it.
There is definitely room. So Isaiah, you were in a group called the Mighty Happy Crew. Is that what
Joseph and the Mighty Happy Crew. Yeah.
Joseph and the Mighty Happy Crew. What do you know anything about how that name was created? That's a very unique name.
Oh, that was.
Sounds like they merged the Mighty Meal and Happy Meal
Yeah, right.
from
Amazing.
Burger King and McDonald's.
No, that was our high school band. It was Patrick Coffin.
Okay.
He was the band leader,
Yeah.
and his dad's name was Joseph. I don't know if that had anything to do
Oh,
with
that
it.
makes a lot of sense.
But,
It's
yeah,
not
kind of a
bad.
goofy name. We were a goofy band. It was like punk and funk and hard rock. It was a weird conglomeration of stuff. But
But it was original music.
yeah, all original. We might have done like 2 covers.
What were some of the inspirations for that band, like in terms of musicians that you looked up to?
Oh, that one, The Offspring.
Oh yeah.
A lot of that stuff was right from The Offspring.
Yeah.
That was, that's where that came from. But yeah, Patrick Coffin, he's out in Utah now. He's a talented guy. Still plays guitar, bass. He's got a recording studio, produces stuff.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
In
We-
Utah, you said?
Yep,
That's
Utah,
awesome.
close to Salt Lake City.
All right.
But he's a talented guy. And once in a while he comes home and
Yeah, he comes home and he just wants to like, he'll be home for 3 days and he'll have his computer and just, I want to record this and this and this. And I want you guys, and it'll be like till 2 in the morning and we might get like one of the things done. But Patrick's brain is always just turning and he's brilliant. I mean, his ideas,
Absolutely.
the stuff, they were an all original band, but their songs were about like flying sandwiches,
yeah,
on fire Ferris wheels.
See, that's my kind of jam. Is there any of that stuff out there?
yeah.
they're probably somewhere.
So I know because
I love
I
music
don't know where.
that what do you call it? It doesn't take itself too seriously. It's just fun. you
yeah,
know?
that's what we
That's
were.
what I love.
We were just goofy.
Oh, I love
the only
that.
reason I know it's still out there is because before I met him, like I wanted to hear those songs I grew up listening to. It is on Reverb Nation still.
Yes. That's still a
The
thing?
Reverb Nation is still a thing.
No way.
There's probably like 16 songs on there.
Wow.
And I think they're just the live cuts from the garage. Like I think, but it's awesome because
Mirror Randall's garage.
yeah, I mean growing up, Watervliet's a super small area.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not much going on there. So like they were the one band I knew and they're singing about flying sandwiches and I'm 9 years old. Like this is
Raw Meat Avengers.
And that became pretty formative for you.
Oh, absolutely. Well, Patrick actually, I took guitar lessons for about 3 months ever, and it was from Patrick, the band leader. My dad called him and was like, hey, I think my kid's onto something, but he really needs some sort of help, I guess. And Patrick taught me the cowboy chords and moved to Utah.
Wow.
And that was the end of it. But that was very formative to me. Like, if you asked me why I started playing music, it's because of that band. Sounds
Wow.
corny because he's sitting right next to me, but it's the truth. And he'll never take me seriously, but it's 100% the truth.
I think those early years when you're admiring musicians, they really do set the tone for how you progress with it. Especially, I remember in my own case, I was watching someone play keys once, and the only reason I learned how to play was because I was just so mesmerized by their hands, and they even took the time to show me some tricks, and that like lit the fire for me.
That's all it takes.
It's all it takes, yeah. So with the all-nighters, do you bring in some of that goofiness into that band that you?
Maybe behind the scenes, we're pretty straightforward.
What kind of
keep it
covers?
simple.
Well, what bands are you covering?
Oh man,
We're all over the stinking place.
we have a very broad. We started out so like a lot of. I'm a '90s like junkie. Like I would play all '90s if we could, but that's probably the bulk of our stuff. We're playing. Of course we're on the spot and I can't think of anything. We're doing like the tip, like Stacy's Mom, Fountains of Wayne. We're doing
Nice.
The Middle, Blink 182.
Yep.
No Offspring, even though that I have their logo on my arm and he loves them. We don't do an Offspring song yet.
They're
That's
a good
crazy.
band, but when you're in a bar full of I don't know, it's usually
People that wanna dance,
I think
yeah.
the median age would we say 50?
Oh yeah, we were playing to
You
older.
know, 45 to 50 years old. That's the median age that's in a bar right now.
Yeah.
Straight up bar.
What do they want to hear then?
Yeah, what do they want to hear?
John
They want to
Cougar.
dance.
Yeah, but to what though? What?
Well, it's
Just
Whatever's
to
my
whatever's
way,
got
pretty
that
much.
groove. And as much as I like Offspring, they might have only had, I'd have to dig deep, but maybe only a couple songs that really had like a danceable.
It's like that four on the floor vibe that you're trying to go for
Yes.
these older folks, I'd imagine, like the disco-y almost, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Stevie Wonder,
And-
John
Yeah.
Cougar Mellencamp.
The cool thing is, once you've got them, if you play those songs they know, like that wedding we did recently, that we had a blast at this wedding. It was our first wedding we ever did. I had so much stinking fun.
It was a blast.
It was awesome.
I'm glad they had us. But once you play those songs they know and they get comfortable, then you
get
can play
really
whatever you
drunk.
want, and they're just gonna have fun.
Right.
They've already decided in their heads, all right, we're all having fun. Let's keep doing it. So we whipped out "Smells Like Teen Spirit" by Nirvana.
Yeah.
Guess what? Dance floor was still packed.
Yeah.
We didn't lose anybody. They were
Because you
still
already
right
brought
there.
them out there.
So,
That's so cool.
We were supposed to be done at a certain time because like these venues have these limits for weddings. As soon as it was like clockwork, as soon as we were done with that Nirvana song, it was a pole barn. It started hailing like crazy.
Oh.
We're like it was an outdoor venue, so we're like we can't. They're not gonna leave, and we're not gonna pack up. So we kept playing. I mean, we did Alice in Chains, we did Zombie. We
It was
played
all
all the
good.
heavy stuff
all
that we
good.
weren't gonna play at the wedding. We did,
Because
and
you
it was,
had them captive.
and they were just doing
they
the,
had to listen
the
to you.
pogo
Yeah, they call
stick.
that a captive audience,
Yeah.
right?
They're doing the
They
pogo
loved it,
stick,
though.
just bouncing up and down. I mean, it was awesome, man.
They were right in our face, jamming with us.
That's awesome.
They loved it.
And those
man.
were
So-
songs where when I made the set for the wedding, I'm like, we don't want to play these. Like, I love those songs, but like, it's a wedding.
Right.
Like, they're not gonna. And we did, and it was awesome.
And I definitely come from a more heavier background, so
Yeah.
I like stuff heavy too. But we play such a variety.
You
of
play to
stuff.
your audience and where you're going.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So going back to the Offspring thing, though,
Yeah.
we actually probably could have got away with doing some Offspring that night.
Oh,
Yeah,
at the
we
wedding
could've.
for sure.
We could have came out. My friend's got a girlfriend.
All right, yeah,
we could have.
right.
oh,
and
yeah.
They might have loved it. I don't know.
I really love those songs too from that the 90s and stuff. It's no secret that I'm a big Weezer fan. I've always been. I know they're a little bit goofy, right?
I was
But they're
listening
the
to the
goofy.
Blue
That's
Al-
the goofiness,
Yeah.
right? Mm-hmm. I love that.
Oh man, my first album I ever owned. My uncle in California sent me the Blue Album,
oh wow.
and I don't know what these four guys in like cargo pants and polos on the cover just standing in a line.
They're a nerdcore band.
Yeah, but then you
Yeah.
hear the production value, and it's I love it, but it's awful. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, there's no like auto tune to his vocal,
No.
but now I love it. But at the
Right.
time, I'm like, how could anybody listen to
There's
this?
there's a messiness to it, especially it gets even worse when you go to their next album.
Oh yeah, what was after
Pinkerton.
that? Pinkerton was after
Well,
that.
I don't want to rant about. This isn't about Weezer today. I feel the same way about that band as you probably do the Offspring.
Same thing.
I'll just keep bringing them into every conversation.
We've talked way more about the Offspring today than I thought we would, but I'm very
Yeah,
happy.
really.
I'm very happy about it.
Thinking back to some of those like more danceable songs and stuff, I remember going to a show at Czars, and there was a band there. I think it's like P.S. break up with your.
Oh,
do you know
dump,
that?
dump your
Dump. Yeah,
his
you
boyfriend.
know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And I imagine like when you say dancing music, it's like that's what they were doing too. And,
yeah, they do a pretty good job of it.
Yeah,
They do quite a few songs
but
we do.
but the fact that you know it's cool that you guys are doing that because I'd love to come see you guys play. What
Yeah.
are you guys playing next?
The night before Thanksgiving, I think it's that the 23rd or
Yes.
24th. Okay, the 23rd, the night before, it's like the biggest bar night of the year.
Sure.
Wednesday.
A friend of mine just recently bought the bowling alley in Coloma, and he's kind of redoing it and trying to bring it back to prominence. They used to have bands all the time back in the day.
Back
Yeah.
in the day.
So we played there in the spring, and it was kind of a test run. They weren't open because they close when the weather gets nicer. Kind of a test run. He had an open bowl. It was nuts. It was so busy there.
We should have played later.
We should have. So we need to talk about that after we get done with this because I talked to him yesterday. But we're playing there the night before Thanksgiving, and they're doing a bowling tournament that starts at 10:30 p.m. So,
What?
yes.
That's late.
So yes, they have a tournament that's starting at 10:30. We can talk later about it. But we're playing there the night before Thanksgiving at Coloma Lanes, and then that Saturday of Thanksgiving weekend, we're at Vineyard 2121 in Coloma, which we play about once a month. That's kind of like our
We're kind of like their house band.
Nice.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, we're kind of like their house band. So, yeah, that's an inside joke that he just said there. But yeah, we play there about once a month. So there's another band that calls themselves the house band there, and I don't know. I think it's whatever.
They do a good job.
They do a good job.
Getting the local music in there. I mean, even through COVID and all the crap that was happening
Yes.
in this country, Vineyard 2121 almost single-handedly kept live music alive in Southwest Michigan.
Yeah, they were pretty much the only one doing stuff, and we go way back with the owner. We both were friends with her kids, and they kind of just, I don't know, once a month. They were like our first. Well, they weren't our first gig, but we played there. We played there more than any other place. So,
So that brings me to my next question. What's one of the coolest venues that are, or what's a memorable venue you've played at?
Campground.
Yeah, that was our funnest one.
What
That
was
was a
so? What
blast.
was so great about it?
Oh man, when we showed up, they were ready to throw down.
Yeah, they were ready
They-
to party.
was it Labor Day weekend?
Where's campground
was
at?
it?
They're
Yeah.
rolling up
This was
on their,
Oak-
their carts and shit, man, and they're hammered. They're ready to go.
This was
man.
Oak
They're-
Shores Campground in Decatur.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
My parents are seasonal lot members out there, and they needed a band for Labor Day weekend. Didn't we play the night before? I don't know. But it was one of those deals where I had no idea what to expect, and it's way out in the middle of nowhere. And yeah, like he said, everybody drives their golf carts around there. And when we first showed up, I mean, there's like a line of people on golf carts. But then as the night went on, it was almost like the wedding. That was probably our third or fourth gig. We only knew probably 4 sets, and that was it. So we got into the songs where we probably weren't going to play. I remember people dancing to Man in the Box by Alice in Chains that night. They didn't care.
Nope.
It was just like the wedding. They were dancing to Three Doors Down. They didn't care.
Yeah.
I mean, it was whatever we were playing. It was awesome.
Oh man, the energy.
And we were
there.
outside, and
Yeah.
the weather was nice.
That was memorable too, but I'm also going to throw a shout out to On the River Tavern in St. Joe.
That was
Oh,
fun. That
wow.
was
That was another one where we showed up and it just stormed, and it was in the summer and it was hot.
When did you go there? Like when were you playing there?
I don't remember the date.
It was when I got off the cruise ship. It was like a week,
It would have been March.
March. Yeah.
How did y'all found that little stage? Did you
so
did
we
they put you outside?
so we played inside because it was
Okay.
raining during
Oh.
load in.
So we had
So
to
they
move
put you in the
some tables and
I'm
stuff.
sorry, John. Did they put you in that corner?
When you walk into the left.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah,
they
yeah.
used to back in the day put you in like
In
the
the back
corner.
right.
Yeah. So now they got
Yeah.
like a billiards table back there. So
Oh,
there's no.
oh, wow.
So
are,
we-
are they still doing business right now?
Yeah, they're
pretty
under
sure,
new
yeah.
ownership, and
Good. Yeah,
Um,
that's a great location.
it is a great
Yeah.
spot.
I love that.
We
little-
showed up and they had
It's a
like the
vibe.
booths and the tables and stuff still like in the spot, and I don't know. I get kind of. I'm like, oh geez. They're
Well,
like,
someone was eating dinner still.
Oh my god.
Oh, and you were trying to.
Right, and it's
You
just
have
one of
to
those deals.
Wait
Like
for him. You don't want to be rude.
Oh,
They
no,
have
it's
to
like-
finish first.
It's like get the owner in here.
one of my things is like I'll say it all the time. Like sometimes people's ability to like read the room, like, oh, there's a band here. Maybe we should get done eating, or maybe we should offer to move. But that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So we're actually like. We were taking the tables out and like putting them in the back room, and by the time we set up, we didn't even really do a sound check. I don't think we just kind of we were like, all right, well, we got to go.
Yeah,
Like, we're
you
getting
fly
paid
by
to
the seat of
play.
your pants.
And by the end of
we
that
ran out of
night,
time.
it was another deal where we were in the crowd with them, or they were with us. I don't know what,
Everything was just blended together.
It was just-
because there's no stage. I mean,
No.
you're just standing on the floor.
but the energy there was just awesome.
I think the one girl, she fell on the floor monitor.
Yeah, we had people falling, knocking over our tip jar.
There's been 3 times. My floor monitors, we'll go through them,
It's
you
a
know, the next
tiny
day and
place
wipe
for-
wine or beer.
For
off
anyone
of 'em.
listening who hasn't been there yet, it's really small.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah,
from
it's-
where you were set up to where the bar starts is probably like 10, 15 feet.
Right,
It's not.
yep.
It's like nothing.
if I had my guitar out this way, they were gonna hit my neck
Yeah.
walking in the door. I mean,
Yeah.
that's where I was set up, was right by the door. I mean, you didn't have any, but man, that ended up being a killer show.
That was the last
Dockside Dan's one was kind of
Dockside Dan's was similar too.
That was fun.
Same thing.
That
You
was a
walk
lot
in,
of
we're
fun.
right to the left, and they're in your grill. That was 4th of July
You,
weekend.
you guys have been doing this for 2 years.
yeah.
Yeah.
Two
Yep,
years.
ballpark.
So how many gigs have you done? Because it sounds like you've done a lot, and you got a lot coming too.
Yeah, we've done a lot.
We're not playing it. It seems like it, I guess.
We're not playing
I
as
don't know
much.
what
Like,
that number is, but we haven't played as many as some of the other cover bands in the area because we don't want to. We don't want to wear people out on what we're playing, for starters, and we don't have the time.
well, and to add to that, there's not venues anymore. There's just breweries and wineries. So
Especially in this area.
yeah, so
Yeah.
that's why we want to branch out. And he said it, kind of made a joke earlier, like, hey, if you're from Kalamazoo or South Bend area, hit us up.
Yeah.
But if you're from around here,
Yeah,
we don't want to get redundant. So
yeah.
Yeah,
if we play about twice a month, I'd say.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
that's what we shoot for. Yep.
And sometimes it's 1 or sometimes it's 3 in the following month. I
That's
feel
summer.
like
Yeah.
I counted one time earlier in the year, but I can't remember. We've played like crazy.
Yeah, not an alarming number, but I mean, at least 30 gigs.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would say about 30 shows in 2 years. And we started playing together 2 years ago. We didn't start playing out until last May.
Oh wow.
So it's
you've
really
done
just
lot
over
in-
a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
We took a lot of time to get our stuff down that we wanted to play before we got out there.
We didn't want to go out until we had 4 sets of music. We did not want to book any gigs.
Well, the way you guys are communicating all this to me right now kind of shows how good of a team you all are. Like you
Yeah.
guys work really well together.
it's a
think we
good
do.
mix of
Yeah.
You know, and y'all seem to really respect one another too.
We keep
Yeah.
our
You know.
set list fresh by adding new songs all the time. So
There's some that you just have to play every gig because, like he said, once you get them, you play that song, you get the crowd captive, and then you
Yeah.
can pretty much do whatever you want. But there's some songs we'll play every time.
And your ability to read the room like that too. I mean, it's incredible. Like
Yeah, that's a big part of it.
that's a big part of it.
Some
Knowing your
band-
audience, like some
some
folks
band-
don't care. They just don't care.
Some
Yeah.
bands will go up there and they're like, "We're gonna play whatever we want, no matter like what they think."
Yeah.
Those
Everyone just walked out on us, but we're gonna
yeah, we're
keep
just
playing the same thing.
I like that approach. I think that is really charming.
well. The
And-
common denominator with those 3 shows we just talked about were all 3 shows where we went rogue on the set list. I think
Yeah,
those are the ones where like. It may be like another song's next, but we'll get in a huddle, or like while he's singing, I'll go talk to him and Steven and say, "Hey, after this, scratch the next song. We're gonna do
we
this
just start
instead."
calling them out.
How often do you practice then?
we try to practice about once a week, but it's
Life
hard-
happens.
It's hard. To
We
get
don't
us
practice
together
enough.
sometimes,
We
yeah.
That's
don't-
what every band I ask that question to says.
We'd
Yeah.
like to do
They all
it
get a
more.
little bit shy about answering it, and
And we'd seen a band over the summer. They were out of the Florida Keys. They said if we haven't played together in 3 days, we can tell the difference.
yeah.
You know, it feels rusty.
There's like an old thing I read this thing about practicing. It's like if you miss a day, you notice. If you miss 2 days, your teacher notices. If you miss 3 days, like everyone else notices.
It's I mean, I play all the time. I got a guitar in I got all my guitars in my house, but I have an acoustic out. I'm playing all the time, but in terms of like with the group, I said he kind of convinced me of it. If we're not playing gigs, we should be practicing. At first, I was kind of like, but I agree with you on that in that aspect. Like if we're not playing shows, like we're on a 3-week break right now, we should be practicing. But it's
Yeah.
hard to get all 4 of us. We all have jobs and family. Oh, I don't have a family. Well, I have a family, but I'm not married.
Right.
That's
has
a
no
difference.
children.
Yeah, I have no children, so my schedules. Yeah, we have different schedules, and it's hard to get all of us together. But
But you can tell after, if you've done a few gigs, kind of not necessarily back to back, but if you've played a few shows recently and had some practices, you're a little tighter.
Yeah.
And I don't want to call it magic, but you go to a gig and things just start to happen because you're all jiving.
Yeah, you all move as a unit. You become
Yeah.
one.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you're feeling the same things, and that people notice that.
Oh, definitely.
Consciously or whatever.
Yeah.
It's
It's like
feeling.
you enter that flow state, and everyone else seems to kind of be able to access it with you.
Well, they can
Yeah.
tell what's going on. I mean, the crowd sometimes, some people can't, some people can, but it is one of those things. And I think actually the campground gig, maybe that's why I was kind of so offset by it, was I don't think we practiced in like a month when we played the campground.
Yeah, you're right.
And I remember showing up and being like, dude, we know 4 sets and that's it. What aren't we going to be able to play? And it ended up being a blast.
Wow.
So sometimes it's the opposite of that. We'll show up and it's like magic and it just works.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like, oh boy, we'll see you guys on Thursday.
Yeah, sometimes you can just like over practice the song, I think, and you're getting your head too much about it. And then when you get out there and you're just in the moment and you're feeling it, you know, and it just comes together and the crowd feels it and you feel it and it's an awesome thing, you know.
So, Brian, as the singer of the All Niters, do you play any instruments yourself?
I learned to play a little bit of guitar, but I have bad carpal tunnel syndrome, so I can only play for like 2 minutes and I lose all the feeling in my hands. So I can't feel the chords or the strings.
So just primarily you
It's
you
terrible.
sing.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
That means you don't have to carry as much gear to the venue.
Correct. Yeah.
Valid.
You're in the complete opposite camp of Steven.
He's involved there, though.
Steven,
Brian's at the back of the trailer ready to pull the subwoofers out, and
Yeah.
he's with Steven hauling his
Drums and stuff.
yeah, his kick drum,
That's
all that.
another thing that is admirable. I've seen bands load in at delivery, and sometimes it's just like, man, you got to take care of your own crap. And it's like if it's the drummer stuff, it's the drummer stuff. No one else
Yeah.
helps out. So like you end up with long load in times. And,
Yeah, that's terrible.
it's-
Like
yeah.
we're all putting
Sometimes
in a
it's
lot
not
of
the case though.
time, so
I think it's better to be helpful and.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
we're trying to slowly like downsize our setup too.
That's John and I think
Get
about that a
quicker.
lot.
Yeah.
When we
I
play.
love optimizing that kind of thing. Right?
Yeah.
You're like, is there a way I could just carry one less thing in? You know
Well,
what
John,
I mean?
tell-
Like, just one.
Tell
Even
them
that,
about
I'd be
how
pretty
you
happy about.
how you discovered you could use your iPhone as a piano.
Oh yeah, at some point I figured out that you could buy like Apple made like it's I think for cameras or something, but you could just plug it into your phone and it gives you a
adapts
USB
it
port.
to a USB port and a power.
And then you
input.
figure like, oh my god, well there's all this stuff that's USB. Like I wonder what stuff just works with it, right? So you start plugging just random shit in, and some of it just works, and you're like, that's wild. That should not work at all. Why does that work?
So he's got like a
So I
keyboard.
tried, yeah. So I
like a
tried
MIDI
it with
keyboard and
I
a-
tried it with like a MIDI controller, and that works.
Oh my
It
god.
works with it works with audio
and
interfaces.
it's crazy. It messes with your head because if you weren't looking at what he's playing, it sounds like a full grand piano he's playing, but it's all on an iPhone. It's
What the
Wow.
heck?
so
Yeah,
talk
isn't
about
that
making
wild?
it easy.
So it's like everything's gotten to
Just
that
put it in
point
your
where it's
pocket.
like I have like a case in my car with like very minimal things in it that I could just pretty much I have a keys rig always in the car.
Yeah.
So is that something you could do while you're playing the drums, too? Like hit some keys, maybe?
Man.
Ooh, that's a
maybe
good
maybe
question.
if I like a looper or something,
yeah.
right? But
He's a field optimization specialist. That's what we'll call him.
Yeah, John's kind of a, I guess you could say, like a master of a lot of instruments, except for he was mentioning earlier you can't play anything with a bow.
yeah, I don't want to subject anyone to like having to hear me learn that. You ever heard anyone? you ever heard anybody try to learn like
Yeah,
like
it's-
violin or something?
That's got to be the most painful instrument.
It's
to
terrible,
practice,
right?
It
Yeah.
just,
It'd be rough.
guitar,
And I
you
would-
at least can do like smoke on the water on one string.
It's
With
fretted.
with-
Like if it's at least tuned, like
Yeah.
it's not that bad. Like you can make mistakes.
Yes.
It's not that big a deal.
violin, no way.
No, there's zero room for imperfections.
A little bit before stream, we were talking about gear acquisition syndrome.
Oh yeah.
That's something John and I can relate to, especially in the production world.
And
you know.
don't let cutting the keys rig down in size fool you.
Yeah, he just doesn't want to bring.
It has
his-
replaced nothing. It also exists on the side as its own thing.
Is there any recent purchases either one of you have made that has kind of applied to that? And
Oh boy.
what have
Oh
you, what have you
boy,
gotten
tell
recently?
us.
Benny doesn't stop.
Yeah.
It's a good thing you're not married.
Back to mentioning no wife or no kids, so I have really bad gas. Really bad gas. Shoot, man, I'm buying and selling guitars all the time. And I think I'm at the point now where I might just have like one on rotation, which he's gonna laugh. It's probably a lie, but I'm always buying.
Like you'll have
and
one guitar, you'll sell it and buy another one.
Yeah, I mean, because I have some now that
That's
I
the
am
goal.
never gonna get rid of.
Oh, sure.
Like, and
You always have those.
I'm serious. I have
Yeah, you probably will.
I have two vintage Gibsons and one vintage Heritage. I do not want to get rid of ever.
Made in
But-
Kalamazoo.
yeah, I mean, it's a piece of Michigan history. Like, but I have a few others that I probably will like. I had a Strat, one of the brand new like American Strats I had for like a week. And I'm a Strat guy. Just didn't feel right. Sent it back. Got something else. Like that is me in a nutshell.
Do you play through a pedal board?
Yeah, I play through Line 6 Helix.
Oh,
Nice.
good.
So
Yeah,
in
good.
terms of less gear, I don't.
That's
I go
beautiful,
straight
yeah.
More
DI into the.
consistent too.
Oh my gosh,
Sounds good every night.
I've
that
used
way.
the same
It does, man.
same
great.
cab.
Oh,
on
you don't.
there.
Yeah, you go straight.
I go straight
Yeah.
in.
We love that.
And I've used the
Gorgeous.
same preset in every band I've played in because it just works for what we're doing. I don't do anything crazy. And I walk in with that and my guitar, and he just. What are you looking at me like that for?
I don't do anything crazy.
Well, I don't do it. I'm not like. So like I bought a talk box.
That's
That's another
cool.
thing, and I used it one time, and it's stayed in my room since then because it was.
Talk box with the tube and all
Yeah,
that?
it was too much work. It's really not that much work, but when you're only used to setting the board down, I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
all right, this is too much work.
It's
So-
just extra steps that. You
yeah,
have
it's
to
one more
do.
thing I got to take
Yeah.
in, so I don't use that anymore. He just purchased. Well, we just purchased. I still got to pay him for it. I'm just letting. It's on record
I want
now.
to go wireless.
We got wireless systems now.
Yeah.
so-
Smart.
And I'm in-ears monitors, and so is Steven for monitors. Trying to convince these two to go
It's the way.
in-ears too.
It's the way.
You know what the problem with that is, though?
What?
If you go with in-ear monitors, then that big bass amp I carry around is worthless. Then I have no more use for that.
It looks cooler when it's on the stage, right?
I love those low-end sine waves beating the shit out of my
Is there a
back.
way you could have both of those things where you can still feel it?
Yeah, you could. I could
You
feel
know?
it. But
Well,
then
if you were the only thing on stage making noise,
He is the only thing on stage
Well.
making noise. He is. I mean,
And drums.
He
Yeah,
brings
being
two bass
Steven.
cabs, and he'll only have one hooked up, but he'll bring both because it looks cool.
sometimes.
What
Sometimes
does
I'm like, I'm just going to plug in one. But, they both get plugged in.
what does a lead singer gear acquiesce?
I
How you say that?
got a nice Shure wireless mic. That's what I carry. So.
Nice.
And no desire for another one?
No, that
this
thing
one
is
works
reliable.
great. It's really good.
We've
Yeah.
had no issues with his mic.
I got
That thing is great.
sure,
backup
wireless is-
batteries, Duracells,
fantastic.
keep charged
Yeah.
all the time. So
And
it's,
good range on it.
Yeah.
He'll go out in the crowd. He'll get people involved, singing with us
keep them
sometimes.
singing with us, and
That's
Yep.
awesome.
And
There's
we've
no
never
interference.
lost the signal. It's
Never
that's always
dropped
right
out.
there. So that's
Cool.
good stuff.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what size of venue either. Like we had issues with my wireless system at the last gig. It kept cutting out, even like just feet away. His mic, he could go
What do you
outside.
use?
What do we buy?
It's sure they're what is it? GLXD
Yeah.
14 plus or something. They're not on regular radio frequency. Well, no one gives a shit about that.
I do. I do. I want
This-
to hear about
no,
it.
he does.
So these are running off like 2.4 gigahertz.
Oh,
and
see,
then
there's your problem.
5.8.
They
Yeah,
have 5.8
right?
too, though.
But
So
this
it's-
automatically will switch between the two, whichever one has less interference. And then
Allegedly.
there's,
Yeah, but they're both like open ISM bands though. They're always going to be noisy.
well, we didn't have that. We just we'd have like cutout.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
think
he
he
had
got.
a
I
a
would
lot
go
set up.
like
I just mean there's a lot of things making noise in that band. A lot.
Oh, yeah.
gotcha.
Yep.
I would go like feet away, and I would be dropping signal. And I'm like, dude,
But right there at the stage, I mean, it was solid.
Perfect
Mine
on
was
stage.
solid the whole night. It was great. But the range isn't as good.
Yeah.
And
it depends on what. I don't plan
just-
on going out there too much, but it was my first time ever going wireless. I'm like, I want to go out in the crowd, man.
right.
I'm probably gonna just be on stage most of the time, but I
Yeah.
want to have that ability a little bit. But the other people we talked to that use the same system said they have no problems with that system.
Yeah.
So it could just be that one gig,
That one
night.
weird night. Yeah.
It's the only time we used it. We just got them, so I want to at least wait until our next round of gigs before I like make a decision. Where we'll be past the return window, but we'll figure something out.
I'm
Lose
pretty
our
sure.
asses on it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Isaiah's just waiting to get up on the bar with his and jam
I'll
on
do
the
that.
bass. Yeah.
That will happen.
Kicking glasses.
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
been
boy.
up there a
Rolling
few-
ankles.
a few
Yep.
nights.
Been there, done that.
So I want to remind everybody you had one last opportunity. You have a gig coming up. Why don't you promote that?
Yeah, Coloma Lanes, right?
Coloma Lanes.
Thanksgiving
Be
Eve.
a party.
Biggest bar night of the year. They have a great setup for a band at Coloma Lanes. They actually have like a separate bar area. They have like a
Man.
real stage in there.
They got a PA and whatnot.
We bring our PA to
What do
every
you got?
gig.
What do you run?
We are like combined half of my stuff, half of
Yeah.
his. I used to DJ.
What part of it?
Oh,
For
nice.
subs
So,
or mains
yeah,
or
we-
mixer or?
No, just like the actual like
Give it
yeah,
all,
like
man.
subs, mains, whatever. Yeah.
Subs. Okay, we've got your JBL Eon
Okay.
615 sub 18-inch subwoofers. Those are pretty good for subwoofers. The JBL mains weren't as great, so we use Electro Voice ZLX.
Love that.
With the 15s,
Yeah.
and we've got a couple of the ZLX 12s for monitors also.
Cool.
They're great. I mean, clear. They
Very
cut out a
crystal
lot.
clear, yeah.
Mixer got a Behringer, the X18. That's we haven't had problems with that really, except for the wedding. I think we were trying to get
That was weird.
the
The tablet.
recorded music to play through it,
Oh.
and I was just in the wrong.
That was the one
RCA
little
and
hiccup.
all.
Yeah, routed wrong. or
Our
something.
setup
Yeah.
is kind of we used to give ourselves like 2 hours before the gig to
Probably
set up.
don't need all that now.
But
right?
well, so recently over the summer, he was working a Saturday in South Bend, and we were playing at like 6 o'clock. So we planned on setting up at 4. And he texts us. He's like, "Guys, I'm not gonna make it until 5." And I'm like, my anxiety just starts like my spidey senses are going off. Whatever. He shows up, and we get all set up. He goes, "All right, what time is it?" It was 5:30, and he was like,
Yeah, it was pretty good.
"It was nuts." So since then, we've really just given ourselves an hour. We're good.
Yeah, and so that was 30. We did 35 minutes
It
or
was
something like
nuts.
that.
Yeah, we're down to
Sound
about a
checked,
half hour.
and I think it was still saved. All my gains and everything was still saved from the last gig. It was probably at the same place, and so it just pulled that all up, checked it. Hey, right on. Bring your
Wow.
made faders up, and
Yeah, he runs
Hey,
all
that
the
ain't
sound
bad.
for us too.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, we don't have a sound guy. It is just him. So he's bass player and sound engineer.
in
Nice.
the crowd. Yeah, hopefully someone's in the crowd. It's like, hey man, Well, there's always someone in the crowd.
There's always that guy.
But
yeah.
it depends
But
on if
someone you
it's
trust,
Yes.
hopefully.
It depends
Yeah.
on if it's a guy you want to hear from. We have lots of musician
That's true.
friends who come out, and I will trust their opinion.
Yeah.
But if it's
I know
my,
that is.
if it's
There's always going to be some old guy that's like, oh man, you guys should turn down a little bit. It's too loud.
there's
No,
always
it's
that
not.
guy too.
It's not too loud.
Yeah.
There was one gig we just got done playing play that Superstition. We just got done playing. This dude walks in with his I don't want to dig into him too much, but he comes up and nudges me. He goes, "Hey, how about like some old dancey funk songs?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, we just
That's,
played Stevie Wonder like 2 minutes ago."
Right.
He had no idea, and I was like, "Come on, dude! Like, what do you?"
That's how it goes a lot of
Oh
the
my
time.
gosh,
too.
they're
And
so over their head.
it seems like folks want to come in and just kind of like have their moment to say something. and,
Right.
like,
oh, he
Yeah.
was dying
to control the environment a little
Yeah.
bit.
The one that really got me was the
It
one
happens all the time.
that the
Yep.
girl came up and asked us to play "Like a Virgin" by Madonna, and I'm just like, no,
No.
we can't play.
Can
that.
you can't sound like Madonna? Is that what you're saying?
exactly? I
Some
mean,
like their requests. It's like, did they even think this through before they came up here?
exactly.
You got someone
Yeah,
who can
do you,
sing
do you
it,
really
dude?
think we should play it, or do you just like that song? Like, because those
Come on.
those can be two different things.
I'm gonna start saying that to people.
that is good, John.
Like that's actually really good. Like,
And
do
then,
you like-
but sometimes they're right on.
they hit it.
Yeah.
Right on the head.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's cool, right?
In the
Yeah.
band
And
before,
then
we
we'll
had
learn it.
someone request the Tennessee whiskey.
Oh yeah.
It's like, hey, okay, yeah, not a bad idea. That's the first request we've ever had in that band. Let's start playing it. Then we realized at some gigs, that's the first song people will get on the dance floor to.
True.
It's Tennessee
Whoa.
whiskey.
That's a classic.
A slow song will get
Don't
people
give
out
away
there.
our secrets now, man.
yeah. Sorry.
No, I feel like everybody knows that's like the hack or something, because you that's not like a secret. You know what I mean?
I'm just
Well,
Yeah,
well,
you're
slow.
right.
like that
A lot
song's
of people
got
love
that
it.
to it.
oh yeah.
I think it's just like the classic old songs anyway, because even if you don't dance, you can slow dance, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
everybody remembers middle school dances. You got
Yeah.
like the hands on the hips, whatever. then you get them out there. Then they're stuck. I mean, then you hit them with whatever we play after it usually.
Yep.
Whatever it is, I don't
Better
know.
be good.
Yeah, whatever it is. It better be.
Well, the goal of the
That's a lot of
band is to
pressure.
keep them there all night.
Yes,
So,
the all-nighters.
you know?
That's the
Ah.
name.
So
yeah.
there you go.
That was really good.
That was
Yeah.
good. I see how
Yeah.
you segued right into that.
But you got to have a couple songs in there that aren't that great, so they can go get some more drinks.
That's
and
right.
Tip
Give
the
'em
bartenders.
Yeah,
and
give them an opportunity to use the bathroom.
sure.
So, all right. Well, I have no more questions.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I'd
do
love
want-
to connect with you guys again at some point. and
I
see how
did
you're
give you the
doing.
wrong date earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Wednesday, November 22nd.
At
is the
Coloma Lanes.
Yep.
Okay.
Right now it's slated for 8 p.m. If you show up from like 9 to midnight, we're probably going to be playing.
We'll just play
Do you
all
know
night.
if there's like a cover for that?
There will not be.
Oh,
None
cool.
of our shows have
Beautiful.
had covers, so
We've
you can
never
just show up.
charged a cover for any of our shows.
But make
so-
sure you all bring some tips to throw in the jar.
Absolutely.
You got a-
Because
you got
these,
a jar,
these
I
boys
hope.
work hard and they need some recognition for it
Yeah,
in the form of
appreciate that.
cash.
I appreciate that,
Cash
man.
is
Yeah.
good.
We do have a Facebook page. We try to keep that updated with our
But do you
gigs.
have a Reverb Nation?
We do not.
We do not.
Do you have a MySpace music?
He has a Reverb Nation for his old band.
I wasn't even aware of that.
Oh yes.
It's on there though. The Mighty Happy Crew is on there,
To
man.
look it up.
I love that
Once
name.
it's on there, it's on there forever,
there
pretty
forever,
much.
man.
Yeah, I guess.
Do we have a MySpace? That's funny.
All right. Well,
We do
thanks.
have Instagram too.
All right.
You can throw
That's
that
worth.
out
That's
there.
worth
Oh yeah. So
mentioning.
they actually,
you go.
by
We
the way,
also have Instagram,
By the
so-
way, push into Instagram a bit. We've had some great success through the Instagram channel.
Sweet.
Okay.
So if you use Instagram, I mean, it's better than Facebook right now because Facebook's kind of relicked out right now. Like a lot of older folks are out there, and
Yeah.
you'll get like the local crowd.
Yeah.
It's pretty
Yeah.
good. But Instagram's like we've noticed like using the stories. Like if you're about to play a show, do it on your story real quick. That helps.
Takes just a few seconds for
And
someone to
people
look
people
at
will look through, and they might not show up at your show, but they'll see that you're playing consistently. And they're like, you know what? I want to catch these guys.
Yep.
They might not come out that night, but they'll like see it a couple times. Like, wow, they're always playing out. I should go see them.
Yep.
Gets them in their head.
Yeah, I hope
So.
you guys get to make it out to one of our shows, man. If you can't make it out in November, we once a month, at least or at least once a month, we're out somewhere.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we got to network and connect
Yeah,
with you guys today.
absolutely.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, we'll see y'all next week. And yeah, listen, if anyone's out there, just check out the All Niters. Look up their Facebook page. Check out their show on the 22nd Wednesday.
22nd, yeah.
At 8 o'clock or later, and it'll be at Coloma Lanes. So
I was told it was going to be all night.
8 o'clock on over, until the sun comes up.
Until they tell us to leave. There's a cop
until-
show.
until
Till the
they drag
last
us
bowling
outta
ball is
here.
thrown, and the last pin is set.
The last pin, yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Amazing.
See you guys.
Thanks, man.
Yep, thank you.